Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about American politics, and we're going to ask the question, do we now live in a world where kindness is cruelty? All right, let's dig into this. I just saw the movie Fury. It's a 2014 movie about tanks, World War II movie about tanks. Brad Pitt and Logan Lerman, okay? Fantastic film, directed by David Ayers, and it is about a tank commander who is actually active near the end of World War II, and he's trying to kill as many enemy soldiers as he can in Germany to end the war. Right? He's also trying to get his entire, and he has a tank. He wants to use his tank to maximum productivity, and he also wants to get everybody who serves in his tank, his entire crew, that's 5 guys including him, he wants to get them to back to America alive. Okay, that's his goals, right? Kill as many enemy soldiers as he can, get his crew back alive. Okay, so the 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 tank has multiple positions. All right, so Brad Pitt is the commander, the tank commander, and he has a tank bow gunner. Now, the bow gunner also serves to assist the driver, but the position is bow gunner, right? So his bow gunner dies, right? So they bring in this new guy, and he's portrayed by the actor Logan Lerman, right? The bow gunner. So the bow gunner's first job is literally to scrub out the flesh and blood of the guy who died in the seat before him. And Logan Lerman explains, it says, I don't belong here. I can't be your bow gunner. I type 60 words a minute. I'm a clerk, right? And Brad Pitt's like, this is your new job. Like, get good at it and do it quick, right? So they start going out, and Logan Lerman is not doing his job. He is not shooting the enemy soldiers in Germany. There's a special word for that. I don't want to say it. Enemy soldiers in World War II in Germany. You know that word. I definitely don't want to say it. All right. So these enemy soldiers are, so they get into position, and the tank commander's like, kill those guys, right, to the bow gunner. And Logan Lerman's like, I'm not going to do that, right? And so he gets them out, and they get to this break point, and they have some captured, and they have a whole bunch of captured soldiers, right? Like, actually, at this point, the U.S. is winning, the Allies are winning, and Germany is on the back foot, right? So, but this is like the most dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous times for these soldiers because they're slow. They're so close to going home. It could be days or weeks, and they can sense it, right? But it's near the end of the war, and people are just doing really outlandish things, and Germans are doing outlandish things, and it's a dangerous time. And the tank commander's like, I just want to get everybody home, but I also want to do everything I can to kill as many of these enemy soldiers as possible to end this war as quickly as possible. All right. So Logan Lerman's like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to kill these enemy soldiers. Right. So then so the tank commander gets out and he pulls over. They get to a break point. They're not under fire. In fact, they're with a bunch of American soldiers, and they have enemy soldiers. Right. So he takes one of these enemy soldiers, and he's like, okay, listen, Logan Lerman, you got to kill this guy right now, right? Like, and it is brutal, right? He's like, do it. He yells at him, he kicks him, right? He is like, you have got to do this. It's important, right? And when you're looking at it, you're like, this is outrageously cruel. Like, this is outrageously cruel what he's doing, right? And you're like, this is completely out of line. He should not be doing this. This is just terrible what he's doing to this poor kid, right? But then the movie progresses, right? And you realize the tank commander is saying, if you don't perform, right, if you don't use that bow gun, it's not just you who's going to die. It's the other 3 guys who are in this tank are all going to die too, right? We have to work as a unit. And if we don't, 5 men die, right? Like, and in addition to that, you see outrageous, incredible cruelty on the part of the Germans, right? Like, they're just, to their own people, and to their ally enemies, right? Just incredible atrocities, right? And and at first Logan Lerman's like, I'm not, these people are human beings, I'm not going to do this, right? But boy, does that change quick. And how and why does it change? Well, it is quite fascinating, right? Logan Lerman sees firsthand the unbelievable atrocity of the German soldiers, right? And just how cruel they are and how horrible they are. And he goes from being extremely, like, physically fighting to keep himself from harming a German soldier, right? To by the 2/3 through the movie, he is eager. He cannot wait to kill German soldiers, right? And at this point, because they're in such a dangerous place, and it's so clear that the tank commander is right, right? Like, you are in an outrageously dangerous position, and even a second of hesitation can mean 5 people's lives. That you're like, wait a second, what looked like cruelty in the beginning, what like it was simply him getting him to perform, right? And you would think, and you were like, well, hey, he needs to give this kid kindness, right? This kid's brand new, he needs to give him kindness, right? And what you realize is that cruelty would have been kindness. He has to get him up to speed fast, or 5 people die, right? And so what? And so this, rough treatment, right, is not cruelty. If he had given him kindness, it would have been the cruelty, because he would have died, and 3 other men at least would have died, and the commander would have died, right? And so this is the question: have we arrived right now in a world where kindness is cruelty? And you're seeing just terrible, terrible behavior from really rough behavior from the right, right? Like, just terrible stuff, right? You're like, whoa, man, that's, hey, slow it down, right? You're like, and then you're like, well, wait a second. Like, some of this is coming because of where we were. Like, where were we between 2020? Like, how bad had we fallen, right? Between 2020 and 2024, the Democrats were able to have a man sit in the U.S. president's seat who couldn't speak sentences. The Democrats were like, you don't deserve a leader who can speak sentences. What? Like, that's not appropriate. Like, that isn't, like, that's how far we had fallen, right? And now, I have to say, under President Trump, we've now arrived in this new world where there is no kindness, right? Like, you're right. Like, we're in a different world now, right? And you're like, that's bad, right? Where we've arrived in a world where kindness is cruelty, right? But one, I would say 2 things. One, we have arrived in this world. We have arrived in a world where kindness is cruelty. And a lot of the rough, not all, a lot of the rough behavior you're seeing from the right is because we're like, we're not going to sit around. There's not going to be a single country on this planet that will take America for granted. They're not going to take resources from us. They're not going to take our weapons and laugh at us. They're not going to, mock us because the way we do healthcare. No more. Like, we're the greatest country in the world. We're a superpower, and you're not going to mock us, right? We are not going to be mocked. We're not going to be taken advantage of. We're not going to be rolled up on. We're not going to be threatened. None of that, right? And all that has changed. And America is going back to regular America, where Americans are Americans, right? And this is a world where kindness is cruelty, right? Like, you best get your boots on in the morning and get ready, right? And I think this explains a lot of why you're seeing this rough behavior. And I think Democrats are like, hey, everybody needs to chill. We all need to be kind to each other. And you're like, dude, kindness is not telling me that gaslighting me for 4 years, that the guy that you put into the presidency really didn't understand anything that was being put in front of him, couldn't speak sentences, and that your opinion, your contemptuous condescension, that's not my words, that's Ezra Klein, dyed-in-the-wool liberal, right, says that the contemptuous condescension of Democrats to the whole, everybody who's not a Ivy League, coastal elite socialist, right, was that you don't even deserve a president who can speak sentences. That's abominable, right? And now it's the exact opposite. We're like, you better get your boots on in the morning. you better be ready to kill a bear whenever, you know, like, this world is a different world, right? It's going to be rough behavior because we're going back to take everything America lost. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.